It required 4 playoff holes against Andrew Landry, but Jon Rahm prevailed to win at the Career Builder Challenge. His second career PGA Tour win, just 23 years old, already number 2 in the world, up from 20th prior to his victory in California. We wondered how he's changed over the last 12 months.
In the past year, how have you changed as a player on the course, and how did it help you today?
Well, if you're asking as a person, I think I'm improving a little bit in when it comes to controlling my emotions. I still have my moments, but it would have been really easy today to get extremely frustrated with the putter, especially all week. It wasn't my best putting week by any means, but luckily I was hitting it really well, so anything inside 10 feet I was taking advantage of. But besides that, I didn't make many putts, so it would have been really easy to get frustrated and lose it. Like today on 12, for example, when I hit that chip that gets really close, I just composed myself, kept going, and hit it, came back making 2 birdies. So I think that's what I've matured myself. Golf, 18 holes in golf are really long, and it's gonna go up and down. I was gonna go maybe up in the lead, then lose it, then go back and forth. So I was just patient and trying to hit good shots, and I think I'm just a little more mature and in every aspect of the game, a little better than what I was last year.
All right, check this out. This is one of my favorite things we do at Golf Central, the blind resume. Through 38 worldwide starts, these 3 players at the same point in their professional careers, 1 win for the first 2, 4 for the third, top 5s, world ranking. All right, who do you think each one of these guys is?
Well, we know the far right has to be Jon Rahm because he's already got 4 wins.
Now you're blowing it. Come on, play along. That's right, Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth. 7 top 5s for McIlroy in his first 38 worldwide starts compared to 9 for Spieth, 15 for Rahm. World ranking, Rahm's up to second. Now, Rahm, 4 wins. That does include wins, obviously not on the PGA Tour. Jaime Diaz, Tim Rosafort, Brian Bateman, all of us together. So let me start with you. Where does Rahm, at the age of 23, and you just saw that comparison, where does he stack up against some of the recent greats in the game?
Well, I think his most distinctive quality is how complete he is through the game. And I think you could make an argument that at 23, he's the most complete player of the last 30 years other than Tiger. And that includes Phil and Els and Sergio and Jason Day and even Jordan Spieth, Rory. Yeah. It's not that he's necessarily better, but I think it's because he has almost no weaknesses. He's very strong. And the reason he got that way was, as a kid, he was actually a short game guy. That's actually his worst stat. He's not bad, but it's his worst stat. But he was a guy who hung around the putting green and chipped and putted with 6 or 7 other guys and got very good at that. And I think that's what separates him among some of the power players.
I think as a player, it's hard to compartmentalize someone's weaknesses and someone's strengths on the PGA Tour. As a player, you do that internally. But looking at Jon Rahm, it seems like to me that it's pretty safe to say that, Jaime, you're right. He has no weaknesses. His only weakness statistically is lack of fairways hit. But on top of that stat right there, he eliminates the left side of the golf course. His percentage of missing the right compared to missing to the left is astronomically different. So although he misses fairways at a pretty good clip, he at least knows it's going in the right side of the fairway. And you saw it in the playoff when he would aim down the left side in the playoff hole on 18 with water all down that side and was hitting that cut shot back to the right. So I'm very impressed with Jon Rahm. He didn't have the best of years last year in major championships, and I think moving forward, that is his goal this year, to improve in major championships. And the way he's playing right now, has a good week this week, it's going to lead to the Masters, and I'm looking for his first major championship to happen this year.
Now, that's a good point, but Rosie, he doesn't have a lot of experience in major championships. We're talking about 6 appearances at the age of 23. What do you think the next steps are for Rahm?
And had his best moment as an amateur, too,
right
up at Oakmont. It's interesting. There's no stat for the moment and how you deal with the moment, and we saw that last year in San Diego on the 72nd hole. You just have to wonder where this discussion would be if that putt didn't go in from the back of the green for eagle, if he wasn't talked into, or they had a discussion, him and the caddy, about whether to go for that green in 2. It was only a 4-iron for him. And the thing that I liked about it, we've seen the fire and the ice in him, but he's got some intuitive skills. In that moment, that flag was about 3 yards different from where it normally is. He noticed that from watching it growing up. The caddy read it right. and he executed the putt. He did exactly what Tiger Woods would do in that type of situation. You don't want to compare too many people to Tiger, but at that moment in time on that green, and knowing Tiger's history there was a lot of Tiger in it.
I was about to say, especially at that golf course, that's very high praise to compare him to Tiger Woods. Take a look at the current FedEx Cup standings with Rahm now number 2 in the world. He's also second in the FedEx Cup only because Patton Kizzire has already won twice on the wraparound PGA Tour season. Dustin Johnson, world number 1, 4th in the FedEx Cup. All of these players in the top 5, top 6 have already won on the PGA Tour in the 2017-2018 season. Still to come, Jaime has his essay on Tiger as the 42-year-old comes back to action on the PGA Tour at the old stomping grounds of Torrey Pines. Tim Rosafort also the latest on Brooks Koepka and his injury. How long will this bomber from Florida State be off the PGA Tour?